I let my 12-year-old son cook his own meals, and my boyfriend lost his mind over it. My son Jake has been into cooking since he was about 9 years old. It started when he watched me make scrambled eggs one morning and asked if he could try. I showed him how to crack the eggs, how to use the stove safely, and he was hooked from that moment. Now he's 12 and pretty good in the kitchen. Every morning before school, he wakes up early and makes himself breakfast. 2 eggs, a piece of toast, and lately he's been adding caramelized onions to everything. I don't know why, the kid is just on an onion kick. He says it makes everything taste better. My boyfriend Mike moved in with us about 8 months ago. At first everything seemed fine, but then he started having opinions about how I parent Jake. The cooking thing became his biggest issue for some reason. It started one night when I was making chicken for dinner. Jake came into the kitchen and asked if he could take a piece of the chicken and season it differently. He wanted to try this new spice blend he saw online. I said sure, grabbed him a separate pan and let him do his thing. Mike walked in and just stood there watching with his arms crossed. Why can't he just eat what's made for dinner like a normal kid? He asked. I explained that Jake likes to experiment with cooking and it's not a big deal since I was already using the same ingredients. Mike wouldn't drop it. He kept going on about how I let Jake do whatever he wants and how kids need structure. I pointed out that Jake eats my cooking almost every night and this was maybe a once or twice a month thing. Mike said it didn't matter and that I was raising a spoiled kid. The next morning, Jake was in the kitchen making his usual breakfast. The onions were sizzling in the pan and the whole apartment smelled amazing, honestly. Mike came out of the bedroom looking annoyed. Why does he have to cook every single morning? Can't he just eat cereal like other kids? I told him Jake enjoys cooking and it gets him up early for school. Mike said it was ridiculous and stomped back to the bedroom. This became a pattern. Every time Jake wanted to cook something, Mike would make some comment about it. He'd roll his eyes when Jake asked to try a new recipe. He'd complain about the dishes even though Jake always cleaned up after himself. He'd say things like, when I was a kid, I ate what was put in front of me and that was it. Last week, things finally blew up. Jake had been watching cooking videos and wanted to try making a simple pasta dish for dinner. I told him he could make enough for everyone if he wanted. He was so excited and spent an hour preparing everything. The pasta actually turned out really good. Jake was so proud of himself, standing there waiting for everyone to try it. I took a bite and told him it was delicious. Mike just sat there staring at his plate. I'm not eating this, he said. Jake's face just dropped. Why not? I asked. Mike pushed the plate away and said, because I'm a grown man and I'm not gonna eat dinner made by a 12-year-old. This is embarrassing. Jake went quiet and started picking at his own food. I could tell he was trying not to cry. I told Mike that was completely uncalled for and he needed to apologize. He refused and said I was proving his point about letting Jake do whatever he wants. I followed Mike into the bedroom and we got into the biggest fight we've ever had. He kept saying I was a bad parent for letting a kid run the household. I told him Jake cooking dinner once in a while isn't running the household, it's learning a useful life skill. Then Mike said something that made my blood boil. He said, maybe if his real dad was around, he'd know how to raise a boy properly. I just stared at him. Jake's dad passed away when Jake was 4. Mike knew that. He knew exactly what he was saying. I told Mike to pack a bag and get out. He tried to backtrack saying he didn't mean it like that, but I was done. He kept calling me dramatic and saying I was choosing my kid over our relationship. I told him that's exactly what I was doing because that's what any good parent would do. Mike left that night. He's been texting me saying we need to talk and that he's sorry and that he was just frustrated. I haven't responded. Jake made us both omelets the next morning with extra caramelized onions. He asked if Mike was coming back and I told him no. He just nodded and said his eggs were getting cold. We ate breakfast together in silence, but honestly it was the most peaceful morning we'd had in months.